Mother's Day tradition for me and my mom is that the two of us get together in the kitchen and bake something that we both love. This year we are baking our favorite cinnamon rolls. Let's get started. For the cinnamon rolls, you need milk, you need yeast. I'm using this particular bread yeast, caster sugar, 3 eggs, lots of all-purpose flour and melted butter. We'll kick things off with lukewarm milk, not hot because I'll kill the yeast. Throw in the sugar. I'm using caster sugar here and yeast. Now we'll give it its own space and let it sit undisturbed for about 10 to 15 minutes until the yeast begins to foam up. After 15 minutes or so, you'll see that the yeast becomes foamy and air bubbles start forming on the surface. Just take a wooden spoon or a spatula and give everything a good mix. Now to this yeast and milk mixture, add the melted butter and mix it well. Now I'll do all the mixing with my stand mixer for this recipe, but you could definitely just do it with a spoon or a spatula. While my mixer is still running, I'll start adding the eggs. I'm using 3 eggs here and I'll add them one at a time. Once all the eggs are nicely incorporated, I'll start adding the flour to the mixture. Again, my mixer will continue to run and I'll just keep adding the flour in installments and mix it until the dough comes together. The dough is ready and it looks super nice. Now it's time to prep for it to rest. I have taken another bowl here which I'm brushing generously with melted butter. And now I'll take my dough, which by the way looks like baby's butt here, and put it into this bowl. I'll also cover it with a damp cloth and let it rest for about 2 hours. You can put it in a warm place. I just like putting it into my switched off oven. While the dough is resting, let's get the work started on the filling. You need brown sugar, butter and cinnamon powder. All you need to do is to mix everything together and your delicious smelling cinnamon filling would be ready. After resting the dough for 2 hours, the yeast will do its magic and the baby's butt would transform into a fluffy cloud, which looks fantastic by the way. And now it's time to assemble the cinnamon rolls. We'll dust the kitchen counter with some flour so that the dough doesn't stick to it, and take about half the dough, spread it with your fingers slightly on the kitchen counter and then roll it out. If you're one of those people who get intimidated by rolling out dough and working with it, you don't need to worry because this one is incredibly simple to work with and rolls out like magic. Once that's done, put the filling onto it and then spread it into an even layer using an offset spatula. And now it's time to start rolling our dough into a cylinder. Start from the longer edge and make sure it's not too tight or not too loose. And now my favorite part, using a dental floss or a clean thread to cut our cinnamon rolls out of the cylinder. I wouldn't recommend using a knife for this job because that ends up ruining these layers. Place these babies into a 9-inch pan and remember to keep a 1-inch distance between each of the rolls because we're going to prove this again for 2 hours and these babies are going to become fat and fluffy. Cover them, set them aside, and meanwhile we'll start working on the other half of the dough that we had set aside earlier. We follow the same recipe, but this time we just added some peach slices into our rolls before rolling them up. This is what the buns would look like after proofing them for another 2 hours. I'll bake them now at 200 degrees Celsius for about 20 to 25 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you try making these cinnamon rolls at home, let me know in the comments below how they turned out and send pictures to me on Instagram. I'll see you guys next week. Happy baking and take care.